Hello and welcome to Kendrick Farms. We're back with another episode of Farmville, North Carolina, and today we're going to be picking back up on harvest. I think we are going to actually disconnect from the fertilizer here. I've got it all tarped up, so I think we're actually going to park this maybe along the wall a little bit better here, just in case we need to get in here to get some more equipment. And we're going to get this grain cart out because we've kept harvesting with the combine there after the end of last episode and filled it up in the middle of the row. I just don't want to be driving all over the field to get that out, so I think it's going to be a little bit easier if we just got the grain cart out now. And we do have manual attach on apparently, so I was trying to figure out how we get things detached from this here tractor. I thought we'd taken that off in the past, but who knows, must have got re-enabled at some point here. That's alright. As long as we know that it's on, we can definitely hop out and hook our implements up here the old-fashioned way. There we go, all hooked up. I haven't gotten a chance to really use this particular setup on the grain cart yet. I forget exactly where this came, but this has been a mod that's been around since 2019 as well. I've been using this. I absolutely love these grain carts, so you've definitely seen me use these grain carts in past series. And it's a perfect fit on this Kubota here. So let's get on out here. We'll empty out the combine, and then I think I mentioned before, we're probably going to fire a worker off on the combine. We don't have a lot of work to do here, but it's going to let us keep moving on things, and I think this field is straightforward enough that we can get away with a little bit of hired help without too many issues. I am loving the unload speed here on this gleaner. It takes care of itself quite nice, and because of that, I think we'll be able to start it off here and do a little bit of unloading on the go. Let's see if I've got vehicle speed sync installed. I do not, it looks like. Or maybe I do, actually. There we go. We'll be able to get all of this corn emptied out of here pretty quickly, definitely by the time we hit the end row here. And I'll be curious to see how well this works for loading into the truck here. I don't think our truck setup is very full yet. We've got quite a bit of capacity in that to hold some corn. Another 275 bushels here in the grain cart. We'll go ahead and put this right into the front hopper here of the grain truck and then take a measure to see how full we're getting. Could have been a little bit closer to the truck here, but that's alright. We'll get it filled up. There we go. I'm gonna jump in here and just see how full we are. 48%. So the front hopper here I think is almost full. I think the front and the back hoppers are the same size on this truck, which means we'll really only get about 2 more dumps from the combine into the truck here, which is all right. So let's go ahead and see if we can get back down to the other end of the field here. I didn't leave a lot of room for turning around on this headland. It's a little bit narrow. I forgot we're not running a 12-row head on this combine. I probably should have taken a third pass off on these headlands, but alas, we didn't think about it. And so I'm gonna just zip back down here. Looks like we can unload again on the way back down. However, I think we get a couple of rounds on the combine here before it starts to fill up the hopper. And so I probably will let him run down here and come back and get him on the next round. Yeah, we're only at 18%, so we'll get him on the next round down here. We'll just let this guy get going and check back in a second. We fell asleep in the cab, and I think the combine's just about full here, so we're gonna race down here and try and catch up before we get to the end and everything grinds to a halt. It looks like we're just missing it, unfortunately. That's all right. As soon as we start dumping, we should be able to keep up here, so we'll pull forward just a little bit, let him get going, and off we go. We did let the combine take another round there, so I think that was 2 rounds that the combine ran to get all filled up here on this final path down, and I'm hoping this is more than enough to at least fill the front hopper, the truck itself here, and then we'll see how much we end up with in the wagon behind, but we'll need at least one more dump, I think, before we'll have everything all topped off here. But we are putting about 250 bushels into the rear wagon here, which should be, I think, about half. I think each of these holds about 500 bushels. So I would expect that our truck is now at probably 75% full. And we're gonna hop out here, jump into the truck, and see if we can pull this forward a little bit so that we're not in the way of our combine as it starts to get down here and turning around and such. Give us a little bit easier time to unload. We can take this opportunity to move it over to the edge of the field as well. Not that I'm too worried about having room if I'm pulling away from the crops here, but it should just work out better in general for us to have the truck out of our way. And with that, we'll go ahead and just run this back down here to the other end of the field. It looks like we need to make about 3 rounds with the combine before it's ready to be emptied with the grain cart here. It's nice that we're going to get more than a full truck off of this field. And so as soon as we get this next load, I think we'll be full enough to run it up to the feed mill and get that deposited, making some more pig food. I think we're probably good on pig food for the time being, but I'd rather have a little bit more in reserve rather than waiting on food when we need it later on. So we just hop in here, we can see the yield map is coming together here nicely. We're not getting the greatest yield in this field at the moment. However, you can see the different soil types here as we move through the field. Hopefully, as we get into our next harvest on this field, things are going to be just a little bit better. All right, it looks like it's back up here at our end and almost full. So we'll go ahead and be on the ball this time and see if we can catch it and start unloading before we get full and have to deal with all of the pain of stopping. I'm really hoping that this is enough to get the grain truck filled up, topped off, so we can bring that into town. I'm worried we're going to come up just a little bit short, and I always hate driving a less than completely filled truck up to town. So we'll have to see. We might pick up just a little bit after the next round here and get that truck moving. But maybe it'll fill it up. Maybe it'll fill it up. Let's see. Following the combine all the way to the end here just to get a few more bushels in the grain cart. Looks like we're going to be at about 275, 271. Not quite there. Oh well. That's good enough for me though. Let's see where we end up. In hindsight, I didn't really think about the fact that if I put the truck down here, I've got to turn around to unload. That's all right. Looks like we've got some fans out here on the road checking out the harvest. That's cool. Always love to see people stop and check out the process here from the road. Hopefully they got some good photos. And we're not quite full, but we look pretty close. Let's hop out here and take a quick look. 95%. We've got room for, man, probably another 50 bushels, so we'll go ahead and run down here. We'll pick up a little bit more out of the combine just to make the trip to town worth it. Ideally, while we're up in town, the combine will be able to finish out the bulk of the field that remains here. I don't think there's that much left. Maybe I'll have to unload him one more time here. But we've definitely knocked out a good chunk of this field pretty quick this morning. And once we're done harvesting this field, we do have several of those sunflower contracts to go knock out. And that'll be kind of fun because it'll have us moving around to some different areas of the map. I think we've got a few different smaller fields that we'll need to go and tackle. So I gotta figure out which equipment we're gonna bring over there. Luckily, our corn header here is fairly narrow, so we can just drive down the road here with the combine and the header attached. We don't have to worry about tracking down a header trailer, which is good because we don't own one, and I'd really rather not spend any money on getting one of those, even though they aren't typically that expensive. And then, yeah, we'll get a little bit of extra money in the bank here, which will make up for the fact that we're not selling any of this corn off. We're going to be putting it all into hog feed for hopefully making some money here in the next year on all of that. So we got another 100 bushel in the grain cart here. I think that's going to top off this trailer. If I've done my math correctly here, we'll find out. And it does indeed look like the grain truck is full here. I'm going to go ahead and just leave the Kubota sitting down here, and we'll hop into this truck and run it on up to the elevator here. Now, we don't really have a field driveway over on this end anywhere. I'm tempted to try and get out on this ditch, but it actually looks a little steep, so let's go ahead and tarp everything up, and I think we'll take it out the other end by the driveway here is going to be the smarter path. No sense risking tipping this truck on the ditch area there. We should be able to sneak out right here at the driveway, though. I don't think we need to run all the way up to the yard. We might leave a few ruts here, but that's all right. Just got to make sure we don't take out the fence. Looks like I forgot to bring in the garbage cans. We'll have to get those brought in at some point, too. And here we go. All right, now we're cooking. Let's see here. The way up into town. It's been a minute since we were on the roads, but I think we're gonna take a left here at the intersection, and that should bring us all the way up to the main road here. I don't really want to get going too fast here, especially with a full load. We will run into some problems trying to stop at this stop sign up here if I get too much speed going. I think the brakes on this thing are okay, but not awesome. And we're gonna call that, oh, there's a car coming, we have to actually stop. I was hoping we could kind of roll through that. If he'd used his blinker, I would have known he was turning, and I probably would have risked it, but that's all right. Safety first. I forgot this truck has an awesome interior. And I think it's this first driveway here is where we're gonna be headed, so we've even got blinkers, so we should probably use those. We'll let the people behind us know that we're planning to turn so they don't try to pass us here. Ooh, it's even got a working RPM and speed gauge in the truck. I'm digging it. I love when vehicles have working gauges. Now, this is unfortunate because at some point I had cleaned all of this up, and I think when the patch came out or something, all of our landscaping got wrecked here on this particular field. So now I've got sunflowers growing everywhere in our dealership here, or not our dealership, in our feed mill here. And it looks absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to have to look at the landscaping tools and see about getting that fixed up here at some point. Very unfortunate. However, we're going to go ahead and get this all dumped here and see how it goes. I forgot we also go through the ceiling a bit here. Hopefully our truck doesn't get sent into outer space. And yeah, this is one of the fields, actually, it looks like that I have a contract on for harvesting sunflowers, which is going to be potentially a problem if I can't harvest enough sunflowers to complete the contract. Because it's counting all of this area underneath our building as part of the field. So we may start off by trying to harvest some of this and then getting the landscaping tool out to see if we can rework the land again and hopefully make this not part of the field. I don't even know. Well, this has been a much unintended blooper, I guess we'll call it. I was not expecting this at all, and honestly, like, all of the driveway area and everything that we put in over here is gone, so I don't know what happened to all of my landscaping. Something definitely got messed up on my save since we were playing before. I noticed a lot of things were kind of reset back to an earlier state when I loaded this save up, and you can see here there's just no landscaping for any of that stuff. It's all been turned back into sunflowers, even though I cleared all of that out when we built this in the previous episode. So I don't know what's going on with this. We'll be trying to figure that out, but I think we're going to leave it. I think we're going to try and complete the contract. It'll be fun to see if we can figure that out and get as much of this harvested as we can before we jump back into landscaping mode to see if we can figure out what went wrong with this this whole setup and go from there. But I think that's gonna wrap up the episode for today. We've got more corn here going in to create pig food, which we can see here in the feed mill. I can actually turn this back on, although I think maybe it is active. Nope, we'll activate that here. It'll start cranking through this corn and making some more pig food for us. And we'll check back in on all of this next episode. We should be all wrapped up in the main yard with our corn harvest as well. We might have just a couple more rounds to do here, but we'll get that all handled next episode and jump into some sunflower contracts here. We may even just jump right into this big one to start with, or we might knock out a couple of the smaller ones first and then hold on to the excess sunflowers that you get at the end of a contract sometimes, just to see if we'll have enough to finish out the contract on this field, since I suspect we're going to have some problems with yield and finishing out the contract with having our building in the middle of it and all of those issues. So stay tuned for next episode to tag along for that adventure. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like. It helps me out immensely. That's all for today. Kedrick out.